Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at the angle of elevation and the angle of depression. Alright, when looking up to an object, the angle of elevation is formed by an observer's line of sight and a horizontal line. So, line of sight and a horizontal line, and the angle of elevation is formed here. And just remember, it's when you are looking up. Elevation is up. If you're elevating something, you are looking up. Alright, so we're going to use trig to find these angles or side lengths. Okay? So let's look at number 1. Casey sights the top of an 84-foot tall lighthouse at an angle of elevation of 58 degrees. Okay? Angle of elevation of 58 degrees. Okay, so here's my person. Here's Casey. We have a horizontal line and our line of sight, and the angle of elevation is 58 degrees. If Casey is 6 foot tall, okay, so here's our 6 feet, how far is he standing from the base of the lighthouse? Okay, so this is X. Here's the lighthouse. Okay, looks like a flag, but it's not. This is the lighthouse. Can't you tell? Okay, there's my lighthouse. Well, let's just do this. Okay, it says Casey sights the top of an 84-foot tall lighthouse. So the lighthouse is 84. Now, it's important to understand that this whole distance is 84. But our horizontal line cuts this at Casey's eyesight, okay, which is at 6 feet. So this piece of the lighthouse is 6 feet. The whole thing is 84. And so we need to know what the actual piece of the triangle is that it creates. So we need to take 84 minus the 6 feet and get 78. So the actual piece of the triangle that we're looking at is 78. Now, how far is he standing from the base of the lighthouse? So we're looking for X. So we are given an angle, and from that angle we are given the opposite and we are given the adjacent side lengths. So opposite and adjacent, remember, if you're looking at SOHCAHTOA, if you have opposite and adjacent, you're looking at tangent. So we are finding tangent 58 equals opposite, which is 78, over adjacent, which is X. Okay, so you should be familiar at how to find X here. You multiply by X. So X tangent 58 equals 78. And then you divide by tangent 58. And if you notice, every time the X and the tangent 58 just swap places. So what we have is X equals 78 over tangent 58. So we need to do that math in our calculator. So 78 divided by tangent 58. And you get 48.7 feet. So that's how far he's standing from the base of the lighthouse. So let's look at number 2. The angle of elevation from a kicker's foot on the football field. Okay, so from his foot, that means it's on the ground. Remember, horizontal line, line of sight, to the top of the goalpost is 17 degrees. So the elevation is 17 degrees, angle of elevation. Here's our goalpost. Let's make them yellow. Alright, so our angle of elevation is 17 degrees from his foot. Okay? It says if he is standing 131 feet from the base of the goalpost, so he's 131 feet away from here to there, how tall is the goalpost? So it's asking for X here. How tall is that goalpost that's there? Okay, so we're given the angle of elevation. We are looking for the opposite, and we have the adjacent. So opposite and adjacent, that's tangent. Okay, so the tangent of 17 equals the opposite, which is X, over adjacent, which is 131. Okay, to find X, we just have to multiply by 131 here on both sides. And so that cancels out, and you're left with X equals whatever 131 times the tangent of 17 is, which is 40.1 feet. So that's how tall the goalpost is. Okay? I'm going to erase that, and let's look at number 3. Leah's mom is standing at the bottom of the slide at the playground, waiting for Leah to slide down. Slide. Leah's mom. Leah. If the angle of elevation from the bottom of the slide to the top is 46, so the angle of elevation is 46 degrees. And there's the top. And the slide has a vertical height of 9 feet, so it's 9 feet tall. Find the length of the slide. So we are looking for X here, which is the hypotenuse. So we have the angle of elevation, which is 46 degrees, and we have the opposite and the hypotenuse. Opposite and hypotenuse is sine. So we are saying the sine of 46 equals the opposite, which is 9, over our hypotenuse, which is X. Okay? You would multiply by X, and remember these two just swap spots. So you're going to have X equals 9 over sine 46. So you're going to say 9 divided by the sine of 46 equals 12.5. That is how long the slide is. Alright, let's look at one more of the elevation. A dog is standing 5 feet from the base of a tree. Dog. Okay? I really can draw better than this, but for picture's sake. A dog is standing 5 feet from the base of a tree. So there's the dog. It's 5 feet from the base of a tree. Looking up at a cat that has climbed 16 feet up the tree. Okay? So we got a cat that's climbed up the tree 16 feet. Here's my cat. Okay, it's climbed up 16 feet. What is the angle of elevation? So this time it's not giving us the angle of elevation. We are looking for it. So we are given the opposite and the adjacent. Opposite and adjacent is tangent. So we are finding the tangent of X, and that equals opposite, which is 16, over adjacent, which is 5. Now remember, when you're finding the tangent of X, you're finding the inverse tangent of 16 over 5. So inverse tangent of 16 divided by 5 is 72.6. So our angle of elevation is 0.6 degrees. Okay, so that is angle of elevation. Now let's look at the angle of depression. When looking down to an object, the angle of depression is formed by an observer's line of sight and a horizontal line. Okay, so a horizontal line is going to be going straight across, and the line of sight is going to be going down. The angle of depression is congruent to the angle of elevation because they are alternate interior angles. Okay, so let's look and see what that means. A lifeguard is sitting on a platform looking down at a swimmer in the water. Okay, so this would technically be our place. So here's our lifeguard sitting on a platform looking down at a swimmer in the water. There's our swimmer. Okay, the lifeguard's line of sight is 8 feet above the ground. Okay, here's the ground. It's 8 feet above the ground. And the angle of depression to the swimmer is 18 degrees. Now, this is the angle of depression. These are alternate interior angles, so that is also 18 degrees. That's what that alternate interior of congruence is. Okay? How far away is the swimmer from the lifeguard? Okay? So we know that this is 8. The swimmer from the lifeguard, the swimmer is here and the lifeguard is there. So we are looking for the hypotenuse. We are given the angle of elevation, and we are given the opposite and looking for the hypotenuse. So opposite and hypotenuse is sine. So we have the sine of 18 equals opposite over hypotenuse. Remember, when x is on bottom, those are going to swap. So x equals 8 over the sine of 18. So 8 divided by the sine of 18 is 25.9. And that's how far away they are. So let's look at another one. A pilot in a helicopter spots a landing pad below. If the angle of depression is 73 degrees, so here's our horizontal line, here is our line of sight, and here's our angle of depression. It's 73 degrees. Okay, now we're going to create our other triangle. If this is 73 degrees, then this is 73 degrees. That's the angle of depression. The horizontal distance of the pad is 1,200 feet. So the pad is on the ground, it's 1,200 feet. What is the altitude of the helicopter? So how tall or how high is the helicopter? So we're looking for that height. So we're given the angle of depression. We are looking for opposite, and we have adjacent. Opposite and adjacent is tangent. Well, so we have the tangent of 73 equals the opposite, which is x, over adjacent, which is 1,200. So to solve for x, we multiply by 1,200 on both sides, and you get x equals 1,200 times the tangent of 73, which is 3,925. Okay, number 7. Building A is 480 feet tall. Okay, so let's make building A. It's 480 feet tall. Building B is 654 feet tall. If the angle of depression from the top of building B to the top of building A is 42 degrees, okay, so here's our horizontal line, here's our angle of depression, or here's our line of sight, and it's 42 degrees. How far apart are the buildings? Okay, so this requires a little bit of extra math or extra knowledge. Okay, so here is our right angle. This is also 42. We're looking for how far apart they are. So that's x. Now, we need another side length, or we need a side length. We can't find the hypotenuse because we don't know what this side is. But how can we find what that side is? Well, we know that this building is 654 feet tall and this building is 480. So to find the difference between the two, you subtract. So 654 minus 480 is 174. Okay, so we know that that is 174. Now, we have the angle of depression, and we have the opposite and the adjacent. Opposite and adjacent, opposite and adjacent is tangent. So we are finding the tangent of 42 equals opposite, which is 174, over adjacent, which is x. Now remember, these two just swap places. So you have x equals 174 over tangent 42. So 174 divided by tangent 42 is 193.2. Okay, I want you to try number 8 on your own.